the king of galamsey. John the Draga Mahama. They would have John Mahama. Ababeta Bonte said, he is the king of galamsey. Now, asem we meka ebiana wunjini. John Mahama ye king of galamsey because ono ne de galamsey ba Ghana since 2012. Bra obedi Ghana konya. Ene na intensify galamsey course wo Ghana. NMC kakra bia. Na John Mahama epe e de free China. And I'm so my John Mahama to me na take China ko sisa. Yen kan say a China for mugu prison. Amo mo kwan so mo mra Ghana ma mu no mo metu galamsey. Na enra na jo miracle abaogye eko good even Ghana so eko ye program. Na program na okoye ye no onya ntobo ase e de nkyerɛkyerɛ mu one by one by ye. Kwanya ye wura John Mahama fa so etumi introduce ade a ye fɛ ne galamsey e de ba Ghana man mu. Na Mahama hu papa we pa ya semo. According to miracle abaogye no si ye kani po di galamsey pa ma galamsey be ye kra be hwe wo Ghana man mu a e mera eye John Mahama na mepese me no nyina ye nko ne ye nkonko tie video no kwanya Mahama fa so e introduce galamsey into the country na tie bi kwanya Mahama fa so during campaign o di galamsey ye campaign se oba be ma amanfo tu galamsey na Ghana fo ya nwena mba ya dwena nko kwanya kwakubu ahemfa so ko galamsey site enko inside galamseyers so monkoto abamfa Mahama na se Mahama we ne a the next day omon samra metu galamsey ene nsema ahodo a eye hidden se Mahama de oni bibia e de mo man Ghana o di Ghana fo anim na etwitwi fo wa dan ye moa e person de ye nko ne nko tie nsema miracle abaogye e di go abonten na asna be commerce so se unya subscribe ya bomodena subscribe to this channel faunsa esi adoma so se de be ya mede video tuma be one of the first people a owo mensa be kan video no yenko yenkonko tie ensemi emna sesia.
We find ourselves in a situation where if we don't set up, the president we have now may throw the entire country into serious crisis.
President Mahama?
Yes, because he's giving one of the responses that no president over the period has ever said. He's giving the most lackadaisical response to the issue of galamsey since we saw this kind of galamsey from the Atamil's time. First of all, you played the video. His response to Kojo Yangson's, question and the issue of where the money is coming from, whether illegal or whatever, is Ghanaian money.
But the reasons he gave,
it's a big problem. But you see, it's a big problem because the galamsey menace is a very serious situation that requires one urgency and seriousness without compromise. So you see, it cannot be negotiated. And so when you get that kind of response from the president, then we are all worried. And that's why this evening we're having the conversation. The president, in his responses to Kojo during the media engagement, I think forgot that he's a president and thought he was in opposition. He lied. He sought to create the impression.
But hold on, the reasons that President Mahama gave for not being able to declare state of emergency, is that not, could it not be the same reasons why Akufo-Addo was unable to do it?
Well, you see, the fact of the matter is that you cannot support a cause and come later and change your course. Akufo-Addo did not call for the state of emergency. He was voted out of office. Remember, at the time the call for emergency was coming, he didn't budge. And you and your political party, you've played several videos, actually supported the call. What it means is that the Ghanaian voter clearly believed in that call and so voted for you.
And made a choice.
Exactly. So once you come...
And I prefer those who declare state of emergency to those who are not even saying anything
absolutely.
about it.
So you see, Akufo-Addo doesn't come into today's conversation. In fact, he doesn't matter. He's done his bit. He's gone. The country faces a crisis during your time. Don't forget, Paul, before John Mahama, His Excellency, and his team came into office, they created the impression as if Akufo-Addo, his family, and his government people were the ones doing galamsey. In fact, I will show you evidence that points to the fact that they claim that immediately Akufo-Addo and his people go out of office, galamsey will stop. And that's a worry. And this evening, you see, we're having this conversation because I'm on the view, if we don't put the galamsey conversation into proper perspective, the government will gaslight the entire country. And by the time we realize we are in that situation, Paul, you see, the situation in the last 9 months has escalated.
Is that true?
That is the
Felix Kwachiofosu says he wants evidence of that.
Forget Felix.
Why?
The
government communications.
The Trade Union Congress told the president to his face on May Day.
Yes,
the Chief Justice has spoken.
Yes.
The Water Resources Commission has indicated that the turbidity levels in our water
has increased.
Please.
Okay, that's sufficient evidence.
We have serious.
Once the turbidity levels have gone
a serious situation, but let's deal with the issues as we have it. First of all, I want us to answer a few questions. Is it true that galamsey started during the Akufo-Addo era?
Did anyone say that?
Yes, the president responded. He said, you see, the level of damage that we've seen in the last 8 years, and this is a spin that the NDC and the president have been putting to the galamsey issue since their days in opposition, to the extent that, think about this, an 18-year-old person in 2024 who was going to cast his vote actually believed that galamsey started during the Akufo-Addo era. Because at the time, galamsey truly started.
Even when we're children.
No, but at the time,
call something galamsey.
At the time galamsey truly started, this 18-year-old was probably 10 years or.
No, even before he was born, galamsey has been going on for 30 years.
But go and talk to the 22-year-olds.
They believe Akufo-Addo got it.
There was a spin, and that is why in the president's response, he still created the impression as if it's an 8-year problem. So is it the case? Okay. Number two.
Show us how.
Number two, you see. You mentioned galamsey has been an age-long thing. We've always lived with it. It's always been they go to the gold fields, they pick their ways,
part of that.
And then they try to mine from it and all of that. But the type of galamsey we are seeing today started between 2010 and 2011. The kind of galamsey on the river bodies, and the forests and the reserve started in 2010, 2011. That is when it went haywire. So we used to have galamsey even from the colonial era.
Yes.
You remember the Sikasunsum movie?
Yes.
So it's an age-long thing. But you see, they did not go into the river bodies. They were not in the forest reserves.
Okay.
They were doing earth. So remember when we were kids, you will hear some people have died from galamsey. And they dig pits and enter the pits and all of that. But the kind of galamsey we are seeing today, the ones on the river bodies, started between 2010 and 2011, and this is a video.
When President Mahama was president.
Yes, there's a video.
Let's watch the video. Let's see the video. How do we know that this video is a 2010 video?
Oh no. I mean, Atamos will speak.
Okay.
Professor Amos will speak.
So are we going to hear the sound?
There's murky brown. The shorelines are scarred. Cocoa plantations crushed by the heavy machinery that is dragged across them.
There's a kind of distraction that we see in the society.
You see, one Professor Enin and
galamsey rather seriously. Let's see how we can solve that problem, because this is a clear indication of some of the effects, of galamsey.
Far from being tackled, galamsey is now so widespread. Miners are moving onto the river itself. Strange new boats are appearing that can suck up silt from the riverbed, sidestepping the need to dig pits along the river banks. But the constant churning has turned once pristine waters murky brown. The shorelines are scarred. Cocoa plantations crushed by the heavy machinery that is dragged across them.
There's a kind of distraction that we see in the
Let me take you
on a video.
Yes, let me take you on a journey. And I really want you to pay very close attention to this. A lot of young people have lived in the past 8 years believing and thinking that before Nana Danko Akufo-Addo, we didn't have galamsey in this manner. And the president actually repeated it in his engagement. That in the last 8 years...
But he was vice president when this happened.
You heard Anas in this video actually describe how bad our water bodies had become as far back as 2010, 2011. And the video you watched was at a time when the president now was a vice president. And go and read all the headlines between 2010 and 2016. The headlines then are no different from the headlines between 2017 and 2024. Indeed, there is an improvement, and I'll show you. So this is a 2010 headline. 10 galamsey operators buried alive, 9th April 2010. 18th March 2010, stop galamsey now. 17th July 2010, another galamsey tragedy, 12 trapped to death. Floods, males angered by harmful effects of galamsey. 25th July 2011. All these headlines, I'm sure if I cover the dates, you may think they are 2017, 2018, 2019.
300 people died of
300 people died of galamsey in 2011. But if I cover these dates and I cover this, you may think this is a 2017, 2020 headline.
Yeah.
But this is evidence to show you that the galamsey situation that John Mahama, His Excellency, and his party spanned for 8 years as an Akufo-Addo creation is something that we can easily, with evidence, indicate that they created it. And that is not without debate. It is without
they created it is
when I say they created,
complicity.
I am simply saying if they say that Akufo-Addo created galamsey
because it was happening in his time, then with the same token,
in fact, they cannot even bring it towards Akufo-Addo, because you see, it was as a result of this situation that even Ofosu Ampofo in 2011 was crying over how the courts were not helping the fight against galamsey. This is a report in 2010-2011, and it says that area of galamsey has more than tripled from 2011 to 2015, from 10,907 hectares to 36,696 hectares. 2011
that's
to 2015.
Very curious for President Mahama, because he was president from 13 to 15.
Exactly. Galamsey is affecting major rivers. In 2013, an estimated area of 551,496 hectares was affected by galamsey pollution. In 2015 alone, galamsey encroached into at least 603 hectares of protected forest reserves. I am making a case, and I'll show you something. So this is again a story from 2010. Then Professor Mills spoke, the video we've just played. Now, in 2013, when John Mahama, His Excellency, took office, because he was vice president at the time when the new form of galamsey we are seeing today had popped up, he had to take action. So he set up a task force. The task force responsibility was to clear everybody engaged in illegal mining and make sure that they clear the forest reserves.
Now let's read it. President Mahama says what? President Mahama sets up interministerial task force with a mandate to arrest and prosecute both local and foreign illegal miners and to adopt and to deport foreigners. Excavators were burnt.
Yes.
And foreigners were
deported.
Excavators were burnt in John Mahama time.
In 2013.
Was not the first
no. John Mahama is the one who started burning excavators in this country.
But you are right again. If we cover this,
you would think it's a 2020.
If I put 2025 there, it's fine. It
exactly.
Works.
You understand? And this is what
this is a revelation even to me as a news reporter. They did to us. The burning of excavators.
This is what they did to us. So you see, they led the entire country to think that Akufo-Addo, and I'll tell you the contradictions, and the reason why I think John Mahama is the biggest enabler of galamsey. Now, follow this. After he set up the committee, led by Yunus Hussein, who was then Lands and Natural Resources Minister, Mahama Yariga, now Majority Leader, was the Environment Minister. Mahama Yariga said that they should give up. I mean, these are all headlines from 2013, 2014. But Mahama Yariga now comes back and says that they should give up on the fight against illegal mining.
Minister gives up on
fighting illegal mining once new approach. This is what he said. He said, this is Mahama Yariga. I called Minerals Commission. I called EPA. I called all the stakeholders and I said, look, it looks as if we cannot stop them from mining. So why don't we help them to mine properly so that we avoid the pollution, he said. Now, if you go and read all the reports and actions taken by the task force, which was headed by Yunus Hussein, you'd realize that the actions were exactly what is being done now. Go to the forest area, find galamseyers, arrest them, burn the excavators, take the foreigners, take them to the airport, get them to their countries, they come back again. The same modus, the same strategy, the same approach. So Mahama failed at the fight against galamsey between 2013 and 2016. And if you remember, in the last quarter,
that's a clear verdict.
Yeah, no, but that's exactly what happened. Not me.
The minister gave up.
Yeah, it's not me. Okay. The minister gave up.
Okay.
The minister
but that's interesting because that's 15 September 2016. Yes. That's towards the end.
Yes.
3 months more. He says we are done.
He said we are done. We can't do. And this is after they had burnt excavators. This is after they had arrested people. This is after they had done all manner of things. Then, in 2016, in the last quarter of the elections, galamsey became an issue. Akufo-Addo never accused John Mahama of being complicit in galamsey.
He never did.
In 2016.
In the campaign.
No MPP person is on record between 2010 and 2016 accusing any NDC person or the president for that matter for being involved in galamsey during the campaign. This is what Akufo-Addo and the MPP did. He promised to facilitate the introduction of safe and profitable mining through community mining scheme. This is what he did. He gave a clear-cut direction towards dealing with the matter, rather than play propaganda and try to put blame on the president, which obviously you knew doesn't make sense. Because, I mean, which president would look for money to the extent of going into the forest to try to dig the ground and bring, you know, out gold for themselves? Akufo-Addo comes to office, and what he did was the first quarter, I think April 2017, and this is like 3 months after being sworn in, right?
Yeah.
April 2017, Akufo-Addo places a ban on all form of small-scale mining in the country.
Oh, he did?
Absolute ban. So when you hear John Mahama, His Excellency, and the NDC say, we are just 8 months old, and I'm sure you've heard that. Why are you putting pressure on an 8-month-old government to fight galamsey when MPP destroyed it in 8 years? That's a complete lie. And I was shocked to hear the president give a response on national TV and create the impression that, you know, we are only 8 months old, and the damage that was caused in 8 years, the damage started being caused from his time when he was vice president. Please, this is the point I think you need to take note. The damage was caused from 2010, 2011. And so if he wants to look at when the damage started, he was vice president. Then he became president. Each of these occasions, he failed to deal with the matter. Galamsey rather became an inheritance of Akufo-Addo, an albatross around his neck. He rather sought to get strategies to deal with a canker that was introduced by John Mahama, His Excellency, and the NDC government. So in 2017, around April, Akufo-Addo sat down with all stakeholders. And in fact, let me also make this point. It was Akufo-Addo who allowed CSOs and the media to follow military men and policemen into the galamsey fight. So you see media men in helicopters, holding their camera. It was
Metro TV were part of it.
Akufo-Addo's undoing was allowing everybody to see what was going on real time. That was when now people began to really see the real damage of galamsey. And then when people now became very enlightened, it rather became his problem. But he didn't give up. He placed the ban on small-scale mining for 20 months.
Was it at that place that he said he can put his presidency on the line?
Exactly.
So it was only 3 months.
It was only 3 months. Then he said that he was putting his presidency on the line and that he will fight galamsey, damn the consequences. And so if you have a man like this who plays a ban for 20 months, by the time Akufo-Addo lifted the ban, it was 17th December 2018. From April 2017 to December 2018. And guess what? All the water bodies were clearing up at the time. All the water bodies. And the evidence is there. So Akufo-Addo, together with the CSOs and the media people, worked so hard to make sure that at least we're able to get some sanity. At least we're able to get proof that if we do things right, we can get our river bodies back. He didn't just do that. When eventually he wanted to clean up our river bodies, what he did was that he introduced policies and strategies that were not in existence at the time he came. So you see, between the period of April 2017 and December 2018, he placed the ban and then put in mechanisms to ensure that when the ban is lifted, at least we'll be able to have a hold over the mining situation. So he introduced several policies that were not present. How we organize consultations and get stakeholders involved, engaging, you know, the people that matter, chiefs and traditional authorities and what have you, engaging the security councils at the regional level. He engaged the National House of Chiefs, all the stakeholders in the space. Then he established a control room to track earth-moving equipment. Then he introduced online application for small-scale mining licenses to ensure that the acquisition of the licenses becomes a bit more convenient to the people so they don't go illegal. Then he retooled the inspectorate division, got the minerals division development unit going, set up the geological investigations of blocked out areas, then established community mining schemes. The community mining schemes now was giving these locals an opportunity to get involved and also participate in it. So there were several policies Akufo-Addo introduced until a time when the CSOs and all those who matter said that, as of December 2018, we believe that looking at the sanity that has come into the mining space, it is time for us to lift the ban. A lot of policies. I'm sure you've seen the water guard.
Yes.
That the NDC launched.
Yes.
And then they said they've introduced, we are working, we are fighting galamsey. Paul, there is not a single new policy, strategy the NDC government have introduced in the last 9 months.
Water guard is old?
It's there. This is water guard. This is water guard. This is water guard.
Oh, they call it river warden.
Yes, this is them. They are here. It's been there. It's nothing new. First batch of 300 river guards begins training at the Eastern Naval Command, September 24, 2022. Here they are, passing out. So if you insult Akufo-Addo, you run Akufo-Addo down, you call him names, and then you are voted for, you must do something different. You can't repeat the things that were done and did not work, which you berated. And that's my problem. So Akufo-Addo, after putting in all these mechanisms, he introduced machines for these community mining schemes, for them to do safe mining. These are the machines. These are the equipment.
Brought in by government.
Yes, these are the equipment. And these were introduced so the communities can participate. You know, the launching that they were going to do, you know, may their souls rest in peace, the Gallant 8, they were going to do. It's an existing program.
Yeah, that
they were going to relaunch. You understand? And these are some of the you know, equipment for those programs. The river guards had their speedboats.
Oh, it looks nice.
These were all bought for them
with state money.
Yes. Now Akufo-Addo and the MPP government, but somewhere around, I think September, October 2024, had actually prosecuted and convicted 76 illegal miners. Yes. 58 of them were Ghanaians, 17 were foreigners. About 140 plus were still pending, but over 850 cases of galamsey by the Akufo-Addo government, catch, arrest, and prosecute, were being executed.
850.
Yes, 850. So let's watch this video of the river bodies clearing up, you know, around between 2018 and 2021.
Let's see.
The ban on small-scale mining imposed by the president in April 2017 lasted closely 2 years. Illegal mining became topical in the run-up to the 2016 general elections, with promises by then-candidate Akufo-Addo to regularize activities of galamseyers. However, the president's first move was to announce a 6-month ban on small-scale mining to protect the environment. The ban, which was subsequently extended, was only lifted in December 2018 after a groundswell of complaints by small-scale miners.
We sacrificed a lot to bring the NPP into power. They would have to kill us if the ban is to be implemented.
In his address at this year's State of the Nation address, President Akufo-Addo says the ban was worth it, outlining some of the successes chalked.
Some of our water bodies have shown remarkable signs of rejuvenation. River Ancobra, for example, looks restored to life. Indeed, some fish have even been seen in the Ancobra for the first time in a long while.
He added that government will do more to protect water bodies, warning galamsey remains illegal.
But the battle against galamsey is nowhere near being won yet, and I appeal to all citizens to be part of the battle to keep our lands and water bodies safe. As I have said on several occasions, this government cannot be against mining. It bears repeating that with the Almighty's having blessed our land with so many precious minerals, mining inevitably will be part of our lives. That is why I had the pleasure of reopening the Anglo Gold on Boissy mine on 22nd January 2019 in order to help Anglo Gold Ashanti secure the needed investment for this project. Government provided a number of fiscal incentives and guaranteed the stability of the...
So what's this video about?
So you see, the fact of the matter is that Akufo-Addo, by the time he went to Sona, middle 2018, had already seen signs of our water bodies clearing up.
But I saw the threats from the young men.
Yeah, because
they brought the MPP to power.
And those are the things Akufo-Addo had to suffer by putting a ban on small-scale mining in this country.
Even though they brought the MPP to power.
Yes, those are the things. Those are the sort of political sacrifices he had to make. Because at the time he was placing the ban on small-scale mining, the people were not happy.
But was he aware that they had worked for him to come to power?
Yes, and that is what led him to say that he's putting his presidency on the line. And you know, the NDC actually put a spin to it. But these agitations are what led to Akufo-Addo actually making that declaration. That you threatened me, you brought me to power and everything, but this is galamsey. This is destroying our river bodies, it's destroying our forest reserves. If I have to lose my presidency by dealing with this canker, I will do it. So
the 2020 election debacle was not just simple. it was coming out of the belly of galamsey.
So in 2018, now Akufo-Addo lifts the ban. All the new strategies I mentioned have been put in place.
Yeah.
The river bodies are clearing up. We'll play a video that is showing evidence of that. And let me put it on record. Since 2010, that this new type of galamsey started, no president had ever been able to clear up our river bodies except Akufo-Addo. For the record. You saw the analysis video from the Mills time.
Yeah.
Mahama asked for him, he gave up between 2013 and 2016. Then Akufo-Addo came. Akufo-Addo showed evidence that our river bodies can actually clear up. Not just that, there are videos of the forest reserve that were destroyed actually coming up and growing nicely. So now the ban has been lifted. The thinking is that civil society organization, media, stakeholders, there's a new policy, new strategies in place. So we'll be able to have some sanity. But galamsey is a crime. The criminals are always there. You may always find people coming there. So even though the ban was lifted and all these strategies, it's still festered. Because these bad people went back into the forest to destroy the forest. Our thinking was that, having shown proof of concept, that indeed, if we work together, we can get our water bodies cleaned up. Everybody will now say, okay, what did we miss? Mr. President, can we look at the few things that we couldn't do and then tweak and still get the thing going? No. The NDC took advantage of it. Now, the party that is supposed to be working with us to be able to get these things dealt with, now go to the people and tell them that, you see, the galamsey is festering because of Akufo-Addo. They put up a poster. Akufo-Addo's picture is there. Dr. Baumier's picture is there. All the ministers you can think of, everybody's name is there. And they just didn't say that they were allowing galamsey. They said they were mining.
They themselves.
In fact, they accused Akufo-Addo of mining behind his own backyard. And that is how bad the situation was. We were in a difficult situation. We were going into an election. What do we do? So going into the 2020 elections, the NDC took advantage. Now the party that is supposed to, so that's the evidence of our water bodies.
Clean water.
Yes.
Also, this, can we listen? Is there a video we can listen? Okay. Oh, okay. So that looks like Marusanda.
So you look at this video and you compare it to the video you saw from Anas's documentary.
Yes.
Coming from 2010, 2011, and you can see the clear evidence. So indeed, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo's intervention when he came to office actually gave us results.
Yeah.
It actually gave us, and there is no debate about it. And no president, since the kind of galamsey we are seeing today popped up, has been able to give us this kind of results. However, once we came back and lifted the ban, in spite of all the strategies, we still had bad people going into the water bodies and the river bodies. And we're expecting that we'll all work together and get results. But the NDC said no. Listen to what Felix said.
Okay. And now it's as clear. I can even see the rocks beneath the water.
The president and the government at the time, the president and the government at the time were actually responsible for the, and it's only Felix. Felix said it, the president himself said it, all the national executives or the NDC said it.
This ahead of 2020?
Yes. Because at that time, they realized that, you saw the video of the galamseyers complaining and saying, threatening the Akufo-Addo. So what they did was that when they realized that the galamseyers and the mining areas were not happy with the Akufo-Addo's intervention,
and most of those seats were held by MPP,
they took advantage. And that was Felix.
Let's hear.
With power and authority and the resources of this country, I see them fail at, you see, when Professor Enin and my brother here, Kofi, say that we should take politics out of this. I don't know exactly what they mean. So merely because I'm a politician, I belong to the NDC. When I see clear wrongdoing on the part of the government of the day, the government that people have voted for, entrusted with power and authority and the resources of this country, I see them fail at what I believe to be a relatively straightforward issue in dealing with illegal mining. Actually,
you accuse the NPP of making the fight difficult.
But absolutely, but is that not what has happened?
I mean, and you also go on campaign. No, you make it difficult for them to fight it.
There's nothing I can see that can make this fight difficult for the president of Ghana, the government of Ghana, if he wants to deal with it. So I don't understand Dr. Enin's concern. You see, and that kind of commentary is what enables the impunity that we are seeing. Because the government of the day, that should be called out, singled out for blame, then takes cover under collectivity. Something, those of us sitting here, in what way can we stop galamsey beyond the public commentary we are running? Who has the resources? Why? We have a 15,000 strong army, an almost 40,000 strong police service, and other quasi security agencies. You are telling me that a state like ours cannot wage a relentless battle against some miscreants destroying our environment and win it. The reason we are not able to do so is that this government is actively participating.
Deal with them, you are useless. You have no business governing. You have no business governing. And then he says, let us come, you and we should come together. We who want to rebuild Ghana and protect our environment, we should come together with you galamseyers, so that you.
So you're talking about the NDC's context.
The NDC now realizing that the mining areas were not happy with the Kufuor's ruthless intervention in dealing with galamsey, decides to now go and take political advantage. Instead of working with the government for us to work together and get results and at least consolidate the gains we had made with cleaning up the river, they went to the miners. So you have NDC executives, you have even NDC advocates, mining advocates like Mr. Toniobi and Co. in the mining pits, telling the people that vote for us. When we come, we'll allow you to mine, word for word, and telling them that if you allow this Akufo-Addo government to come again, they will destroy your mining. And that galamsey precedes politics. And even some of us, we will do galamsey with you. And the day Mahama is announced as president, come and we'll let you mine. Let's watch this video and come back.
Since you are Mohun Wahano, or Behun said the land in the city, or Becca, Namebua, after on the 11th, on the 7th, and she say, at the mom, because on one of the better now. Said the Bay Union, Mobray, or Maya Jumaka Craig. Most would be Nasa Sinibi. Now, so Yasa, the machine was 1 month, out of Kakohain, now to the Ababa Juma. Now, so no Chromo call for Friday, Eddie, and 2 Kwako to Abana, a John Daman Mahama, a 2 direct.
I always used to make a point on TV. Going into the 2020 elections, when the Akufo-Addo was being accused of galamsey, I told people that, listen, if the government will succeed at the fight against galamsey, we need everybody on board. Because the way the country runs, when these criminals realize that the opposition party is on their side, they hide behind it. Because they don't have to fight, they don't have to speak. The NDC was speaking for them. And they stay in the forest and mine. How would any government at all, ever succeed at the fight against galamsey if the opposition behave like the way the NDC behaved in this manner? And that is where the problem is. It doesn't end with only Mr. Toniobi and Kokuboahen. The president himself, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama himself, and this video is one of the biggest video that proves that he's an enabler of galamsey, goes to a mining community, and guess what he tells them? All those who have committed crime of illegal mining have been sent to court, prosecuted, convicted, and jailed. Vote for me. When I become president, I'll release all of them for them to come home. Let's watch this video.
Galamsey no omo atu omumu ye be ma omo amnesty no omo asaba ezu ye ban omo chi omo galamsey no omo atu omumu ye be ma omo amnesty no omo asaba
The cheers suggest to me that there were a lot of people in the jail then.
Yes.
The cheers means that people had been prosecuted a lot.
Their families were
unhappy with it. So the cheers, he was widely cheered.
So he was enabling them. So when I say John Mahama is the biggest enabler of galamsey, this is one evidence. The fact that you tell the galamseyers that I'm coming to bring you out, you are telling the others who are not in jail yet that when you become president, they can mine for free. And so when you eventually become president and mining has escalated, nobody should be surprised about it. It was a promise you made to them. It was a specific promise you made to them. And guess what? Between 2021, after they lost the 2020 elections, all the way to 2024, the NDC had a deliberate strategy to spin galamsey until NPP gets out of power. And so the entire period, it was NDC basically turning the entire country against the only man who is known in the history of this country, Danado Danko Akufo-Addo, to have cleaned up our water bodies and make him look like the one that is actually perpetrating galamsey in this country. Very sad. For me, one of the saddest thing anybody would have done to Nana Akufo-Addo is how the NDC made him look bad in the fight against galamsey. And yet, nobody is on record to have fought galamsey harder, stronger than Akufo-Addo. At least, if not for anything at all, the resource is there to prove that he made
recently Suleiman Brahma said it. Recently, Suleiman Brahma of the Media Foundation for West Africa said it.
A lot more people are going to say it. Now, when all these things were going on, I made a point, and I have always been consistent, and that's why now I am able to speak, and nobody can challenge me as to why I'm speaking, because I spoke in opposition. My videos are there. I spoke against galamsey. I spoke against anybody that was involved in galamsey, and I said that the galamsey menace is like the drug situation in the Colombians and what have you. You cannot win it with just one group of persons. We must all work together. The NDC disagreed. They thought that no, they didn't have any role to play, and that they had nothing to do with the fight against galamsey, and it's an MPP problem. Let's listen to Sami Jamfi, let's listen to Sam George, and let's listen to the president himself.
Okay, let's see that video.
You can't deal with them, you're useless. You have no business governing. You have no business governing. And then he says, let us come, you and we should come together. We who want to rebuild Ghana and protect our environment, we should come together with you galamseyers, so that you influence us to do the galamsey together, or what? We should come together and do what? Can good and evil come together? Can light and darkness come together? Can light and darkness come together? You are destroying water bodies and killing people.
Okay.
We should come together to do what?
Okay.
Okay. Is your mama the president?
Okay.
National security and all of those things. The next global war will be fought over fresh water. We have it, and we are destroying it. Andy, if this is not wickedness, then it is foolishness. It is one of the two. But we cannot continue like this. And we need to be able to call a spade a spade. And the president must act. And you see, Randy, what annoys me the most is those who say, let's come and sign a pact. A pact for what? Galamsey is a problem. There is a president, there is a government. Fix it. Now you're asking the opposition to come and fix it. Does the opposition issue licenses? Does the opposition issue licenses that we should come and fix it? The people issuing licenses, are they not appointees of the president? Is it not the government issuing a license? Now you want to make it a collective problem? It is not a collective problem. It is your problem. You have created this mess.
Stop galamsey now! President Akufo-Addo, stop galamsey now! We will continue this fight, and we will continue this struggle until our water bodies are protected.
That's interesting.
So you see, if galamsey is festering after you are in office, and some judge says it's either you are wicked, it's wickedness, or it's foolishness. If Akufo-Addo was wickedness, then this is clear foolishness. Why do we still have galamsey? Why is it still there? Is Akufo-Addo not out of office? According to Sami Jamfi, it is Akufo-Addo and the MPP people who are doing galamsey. And that once they are voted out of office, galamsey will cease.
Felix says it here. If you want a proper galamsey fight, throw Bawumia and MPP out of on December 7th. The only reason why it persists is that major figures in MPP and government are actively involved in it, and as we have heard from Professor Frimpong Boateng say on tape, it is a major source of financing for the MPP. But yes, Frimpong Boateng did say that.
So the Attorney General has referred the national organizer of the NDC and the first vice chairman of the NDC for investigation alleged involvement in galamsey. So Felix and his people were involved in galamsey.
No, Felix is not part of it.
But why? I'm saying that Felix and his people, when he was mentioning,
you mean because he says Frimpong Boateng?
I am saying that if Frimpong Boateng's words
or the documents
are anything for Felix, then the Attorney General has referred his party's vice chairman and his party's organizer for investigation for involvement in galamsey.
National officers.
Does it mean that Felix and his government functionaries in 9 months are the ones responsible for destroying our water bodies? Because remember, the MPP are out of office, and according to Felix, once the MPP are taken out of office, the galamsey will stop. Guess what? The galamsey has tripled in the past 9 months.
And the Attorney General thinks that the national organizer has questions.
Then if you listen to Sami Jamfi and you listen to Sam George and you listen to the president said that he hears people say that we should come and know it's the mandate of the government. They should go and do it. It has nothing to do with the opposition. Today, whose mandate is it? Is it not the mandate of the president? Is it the president who is involved in galamsey? I don't think that John Mahama, His Excellency, is in the mining pit mining. I don't think even if he needs money, it will be money from the mining pit. But I think he's enabling them because he's consuming their money. John Mahama is more interested in the profits from galamsey than worry about the environment because he's buying gold from them. See, go to TikTok. There's a TikTok account, Galamsey TV. They have over 600 followers. They have videos with 3 million, 4 million views. The galamseyers have cameras on themselves protesting against the government for buying their gold at 8,000 instead of 12,000.
Yes, I heard that.
So you are an enabler. Why are you buying gold from the criminals? Why? If you are buying,
he said that those monies would have gone abroad.
Perfect.
Of the 6 billion, 4 billion would have gone abroad.
So my point is made.
But when the gold is bought, where does the money go? Where does the gold go? It becomes government of Ghana property.
Yes, but that's the money. That's the money they are now
exporting.
Yes. So we are exporting crime. That's what we are doing. We are exporting process of crime.
So how does the government buy it?
Remember that
somebody mines galamsey from river bodies and brings it to government.
No, you know the government, the gold board has given licenses to like middlemen, like
to buy for
license buyers. Yeah. So they go to the villages. You see, when you go to the galamsey site, in a day nobody's really getting like a pound, like a big one. They call it blade. Like that's like small sizes. So they do like aggregation. Then they will get one sizable size. Then they will sell it to the government license buyer.
Because that's the only legal way to sell.
Yes. One would have thought that the gold board rather would help deal with this. Because if you are holding the gold and you cannot sell to any other person than gold board, then if it is illegal, you cannot sell it.
Yeah.
So it would discourage you.
Yeah.
But now they are rather buying from them. And I thought that
the president don't ask where the gold is coming.
I thought the president would even deny it. I was shocked to the bone.
What did he say?
When the president didn't deny it. And he said that, well, out of the 6 billion that they've exported, about 4 billion of it, if not the fact that they are buying anyway, it would have gone to private pockets. So basically, the president is telling us that out of the $6 billion gold they've exported, 4 billion is illegal mining. That's a very serious situation. We are in trouble. Paul, we are in big trouble. We are in serious trouble if this is the mindset and the thinking of the president. But guess what? Sam George says that the man who is paid to be president has the ultimate power to end this in a week if he wants. He is commander-in-chief of the Ghana Armed Forces, for Christ's sake. This is a cabinet minister. He's part of the decision-making when it comes to what needs to be done around every issue in the country. He was in cabinet when the government took a decision to withdraw all the security forces from the mining areas. You know they've been withdrawn, the task force.
Yeah, apparently Akufo-Addo withdrew too.
He was in government.
Yeah, he was, yes.
He was in government. Now you have the presidential staffer. Bichi says that no nation deserves to be governed by a political party like the MPP. How can you gang rape and subject your own country to such galamsey activities? I dare say that if truly Nanado sat in a law class, he will never behave this way. Shameful. I think Bichi should bow her head down in shame that for such a serious national crisis, they took political advantage of it. This government, this NDC government, they should bow their heads in shame for milking this serious galamsey matter to their political advantage. Sami Jemfi is here. He said if the MPP could not fight galamsey in 2,805 days, that is since January 7, 2017, with Operation Vanguard, Galam Stop, they can certainly not fight galamsey in 86 days, whether or not a state of emergency is declared. Remember that this is a government that used 2 years to clean up our water bodies, Akufo-Addo's government. And they cleaned up a water bodies that they, the NDC, had muddied from 2010. 2010, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 7 years, they destroyed our water bodies. It took Akufo-Addo 20 months to clean the same water bodies. And here he is, lying, spinning, and making Akufo-Addo look bad. Sam George is here again, ranting, saying all manner of things. Galamsey is Ghana's drug trade. It is to Ghana what cocaine is to Colombia. There are cartels involved. These cartels have politicians, chief security personnel involved. Our government is complicit and will not do anything about it. Akufo-Addo bears ultimate responsibility. If Akufo-Addo was complicit in Galamsey, in spite of all he did, in spite of all he said, then I think John Mahama is the biggest enabler of Galamsey, because for him, he has admitted on national TV for actually buying gold from these illegal miners. Now, John Mahama and Sami Jemfi and all the NDC guys, when we were calling for a collaboration in dealing with Galamsey, they disagreed with us. They didn't think that it was relevant. They didn't think it was necessary. And I think that's the video we played earlier on. So in the run-up to the 2024 election, you know what the NDC did? They started looking for their parties, their friends, like Professor Jampo, Rasford Jampo, you know, and I kept saying, this man is an NDC guy doing NDC Hachejo. No, he's not. And then Ransford Jampo was all over the place, at some point crying.
Even getting looks to
yes,
UTAG to go.
At some point crying. Because of the call for state of emergency, he called his own organized labor disorganized labor. And you know what he said? He said that his own colleagues in organized labor, they sat in their rooms and allowed politicians to manipulate them into silence. Today, I asked Ransford Jampo, 8 months now, his political party, that he's enjoying the largesse of the party being in power, have allowed galamsey to fester so much that it has tripled in terms of the damage to our forest reserves and our river bodies. Has it been manipulated to keep quiet? Why is he not screaming? Why is he not shouting? Why is he no longer talking about the galamsey that he so much spoke about? Listen, a few weeks to elections, Professor Jampo chased me with a pact, an undertaking, and said that if Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia doesn't sign that pact, the next day they were going to hold a press conference and call him out. That John Mahama has already signed. It's left with Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. 1 a.m. I went to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia with Professor Jampo's pact. Undertaking 1 a.m. for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia to sign it. At 2 a.m. I had to WhatsApp it to him, take a picture and WhatsApp to him so he gets evidence. So he doesn't call Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia out the next morning. I asked Ransford Jampo, where is that pact? Dr. Bawumia did not win the elections. He had a clear plan in dealing with the galamsey situation. John Mahama made a promise as to what he would do in dealing with the situation. Where is the pact? The galamsey call, the state of emergency call that Professor Jampo and all his NDC friends were making, what are they doing about it? Let's watch these videos on their call for state of emergency.
On all forms of mining, we want a state of emergency.
Declare a state of emergency. Just as we declared lockdown during COVID, let there be a certain declaration.
Yes, I think that national emergency be declared now.
And it is his responsibility to deal with galamsey now.
I get very passionate when I talk about galamsey issues because I think the president has failed. And this is not politics. This is about leadership.
We want a ban on all forms of mining. We want a state of emergency.
Declare a state of emergency. Just as we declared lockdown during COVID, let there be a certain declaration.
Yes, I think that national emergency be declared now.
And it is his responsibility to deal with galamsey now.
I get very passionate when I talk about galamsey issues because I think the president has failed. And this is not politics.
Wow.
If you have 4 cabinet ministers calling for a particular action to be taken by the previous government, and you sit in cabinet with these people and you are looking for solutions to deal with the same menace, and you are asked what you are doing about the state of emergency, and you say that you don't think it is time to do it and that we are not there yet, then the question is, what were you calling for 9 months ago? Why were you calling for it 9 months ago? What have you done? What have you done? Why?
Because 9 months ago, the turbidity of the water was not as it is today.
It is worse.
But at that time, they were calling for it.
At that time, you were calling for it.
Now it's worse.
And
they say we are still not there.
And then he says that we have not exhausted all the approach and so let me draw your attention to something. And I'll tell you what. There is not a single action that the John Mahama government has taken since they were sworn in on 7 January about the fight against galamsey that has not been done in the past.
Yeah, you said that already.
Not even one. He himself, you see, he contradicts himself a lot. He is on video, which has been played, actually saying that he doesn't see the sense and the reason in arresting galamseyers. In fact, let me remind you, during the 2018-2019 fight by Akufo-Addo, the Galam stopped the vanguard, and the arrest of all these miners, John Mahama actually said it publicly that Akufo-Addo should stop chasing galamseyers with soldiers, and that he doesn't think that it's sensible, it's wise to use that approach. Meanwhile, you are in office today, and it's the same approach you are using. The approach that you told the Akufo-Addo to stop, I think there's a video, that video hasn't been played yet. The approach, he said that there is no sense, it's not wise to go after the galamseyers with soldiers and all of that there should be a better way of doing it. And then you come to office, the people vote for you on the back of this, and you're actually doing the same thing that you called unwise. I have a problem with that, and that is why I think that is the biggest enabler of galamsey, without doubt.
Wow, this is very interesting presentation. Okay. It's 18 minutes past 11. Let's take text messages, and then do we have another video you want us to show?
Yeah, there's a video, and then I'll wrap up my conclusion. Then.
All right, let's look at the video next.
Illegal small-scale mining. Almost sa ejuma no si abon ho ban a ebe say asase no enso ye di nyansa ene ye di ye every say sa ade a ye di soldier for ade echichi ye mabu na omo ye illegal small scale mining no ya ye bi da sa o kai ya ye bi da e wo Ghana ha enso anya ejuma enti ye adwin say we will bring a new mining law ebe regulate sa galamsey na ama ejuma no etimi akoso ama omo an woye ni ye no etimi aye enya bibi akomo ano and so Brofokasamo Yabeka said if you put a blanket ban and then you send soldiers after the young people, that is not the way to go. As you stop illegal small-scale mining, at the same time you must put in place a livelihood package so that as you are displacing people from illegal mining, they have something else to do. But when there's nothing to do and you're just chasing them and shooting them, it is not the way to go.
So Paul, you see, the president's level of inconsistencies, contradictions since 2010, 2011, all the way to now, clearly tells you that if the bishops, if civil society, if the media, if the citizens do not rise, he's clear in his mind that galamsey is going to be a foundation to the economy he wants to build. That is without doubt. Remember that he's already made a point that this whole economy thing, the CDIR brand is because of gold board. Where is gold board getting their gold from? He says they are getting 60% from the galamseyers. We are in big trouble. What we are saying is that we don't think that we should go the route they did. They milked it, they lied on Akufo-Addo, they destroyed him in all manner of ways. They should just apologize to him. They know in their heart Akufo-Addo was not involved in galamsey. They know in their heart Bawumia was not involved in galamsey. They know that MPP being out of office doesn't necessarily end galamsey. And that is why for 9 months, MPP is out of office and galamsey is tripling and doubling. Once they do that, they should also apologize to the Ghanaian people for their inconsistent, their flip-flopping on the issue of galamsey, especially with the lackadaisical nature with which the president is dealing with the matter, and stop buying the gold from the criminals. All we are asking him to do is to go back to his promises and fulfill what he said he would do. This is what we used as a country to elect him. He says that he will repeal the LI that allows mining the forest reserves. He supported the call to declare state of emergency. Several members of his cabinet supported him. There's a ban on the ban on all forms of small-scale mining for a while. It's a promise he made he would do in 120 days. Today is September. We don't have a ban on all forms of small-scale mining. Remember, he's not the only one that made that promise. Akufo-Addo did it. He made the promise, and in the first 3 months, he enforced it for 2 years. He said he was going to free all the arrested galamseyers.
No, the ban all forms of mining forest areas.
Yes, the forest reserves also was there. Then he says he was going to free all arrested galamseyers and give them back their seized excavators. He's still arresting galamseyers. Those he said he will give amnesty. Recently, he gave amnesty to over 900 people or so. The galamseyers were not part. That is a problem. That is dishonesty. He said he was going to use artificial intelligence to fight galamsey. We are yet to see and understand the sort of artificial intelligence and how he's going to use that to deal with it. What we are saying is that we're not happy the manner in which the president responded to Kojo Yankson. I even thought it was only Kojo Yankson and that maybe he was just playing with words. Until last night, I saw the letter from the Catholic bishops where they intimated that on 2 occasions
they had met him.
They had actually met him.
That's quite serious.
And they were not satisfied with the response. Again, pay attention. They said he prioritized the issues of
economy, money,
over the environment. And that for me is a big problem. You realize that it also reflected in his response that he gave to Kojo Yankson. The bells are there, the signals are there. It is quite clear that John Mahama, His Excellency, is not ready and willing to fight the menace, the manner in which we want it. We all need to work together and simply ask him to take specific steps in dealing with the matter. Completely, ensure that whatever it is that he did between 2013 and 2016, for which reason he couldn't succeed in the fight against galamsey, he doesn't repeat them. He should use new approach. Simply go to the promises you made in your manifesto and get it done. His utterances that he made between 2017 and 2024 are also one of the indications of why I think he's a bigger enabler of galamsey. The NDC government buying gold from galamseyers, there is nothing that makes you an enabler of galamsey than buying the proceeds of the work that they do. His subtle endorsement of galamsey through his response, when Kojo Yansen asked him the question, for me it's also a big matter. His reluctance to admit that the galamsey menace has escalated in the last 9 months and show clear strategies in dealing with it is a big problem for me. Not a single strategy introduced since he assumed office is new. So for me, these things, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, are my key reasons why I am clear in my mind that no president in our Fourth Republic has publicly enabled and facilitated galamsey than the president that we have. And I think that as quickly as possible, he must take steps, backtrack, sit down with his people. Those who need to render apologies to render apologies. Because I think that no matter what the NDC do, they owe Akufo-Addo an apology. And that for me is something they have to do. Afterwards, they can get the support of everybody, civil society, media. I personally will advocate to my political party to work with them, unlike they did. We work together and find a solution to this menace. Thank you for.
Well.